Hi everyone. Am I online? Oops. What is happening? I'm visible, right? Guys, am I visible and audible? Can you guys tell me? Oh yeah, I can see my screen, so it's fine. Okay, I can see you guys as well. Okay, hi Nilanjana. I'm waiting for a little bit people to join and then we talk about. Yeah, good evening to all of you guys. Today is Christmas Eve. I'm sorry because I didn't have other time in other days. So mostly I'll speak in English. I'll go as slow as possible because many of the people here who are in the chat, I was informed that they don't understand Hindi. I mean, somebody also prefer Hindi, but somehow we would try to talk in English, and I don't think it would be too much inconvenient. So let's speak about it. So let other people join. Meantime, if you guys have specific questions, I can answer these questions and all those things. So this is the exclusive Q&A sessions. You can ask me about advices. You can ask me about, okay, how to do this, how you have done this, or how we can do all these things. Okay. So you guys can do ask me questions. I mean, you have to write it in the comment in the YouTube live. Today's overall framework is I'll tell you about exactly the books, what you need to go through. I've already shown this thing in other medias, but people have always questioned like, okay, this is my situation. Do I read this book? Or this is my situation. Do I read that book? So which one is important? And how do you know that this book is good for me or that book is good for me? I don't have this book, so what to do? So these things would be clear today, clear very much. So we'll waste we would wait for like at least 5 minutes of time such that people would join. Today's Christmas Eve. I don't expect too many people to join, but I don't have any other option, so I have to give it today anyway. But just to tell you guys that there would be subsequent amount of open version of these classes, at least few important topics such as molecular biology. I can also tell you guys like, wait a second, such as molecular biology, some aspect of it, not entirely, would be covered in these online classes such that everybody can everybody can join. So yeah, so this is simply like that. Okay, so keep an eye on these channel, also subscribe this channel such that you get the notification whenever I'm online or anything. So tell me about the specific question, like what you need to know. So you have to ask me questions in the chat box such that I can sort of answer you guys. Waiting a little bit more time because it's not 5 minutes yet. Yeah, NIT Rourkela is the NIT which offer MSc Biotech. Uh, yeah, Rourkela, right? Yes, NIT Rourkela. It's not Roorkee. It's not IIT Roorkee. It's NIT Rourkela. And there are few NITs, NIT Durgapur, and few of these NITs which offer MSc Biotech. Um, I know about NIT Rourkela because one of my batchmate was there. It's a good course, not bad. Yeah, that's it. So you guys can definitely Think about it. So this time the main IITs are IIT Bombay, IIT Roorkee, and then I think this from this year or year before they have few more IITs, right? IIT Mandi and IIT Mandi is there for biotech. Qualifying after qualifying GRF. Can you elaborate your question? I'm still there. So if you elaborate the question, I can answer. So no, CSIR UGC net is it's a very misnomer thing. So CSIR UGC net is just for funding. It doesn't ensure you to do a PhD any institute. Okay, it's not a entrance exam for PhD. Okay, so it's possible that you have CSIR UGC net on the certificate there. It only ensures that okay, you would get some fellowship from this funding agency that would clear your I mean support you throughout your PhD years, but it does not ensure that you would get chance in an institute. For example, if you go to IISc, if you have CSIR UGC net, it doesn't create any difference. For example, TIFR, no, TIFR doesn't even care about CSIR UGC net. So we have our own funding system, that is Department of Atomic Energy, and CSIR is like a funding body. So for example, CSIR UGC net is just a piece of paper if you want to apply for NCBAs, IISc or TIFR systems, but it's valuable. So now few CSIR degrees are counted where? For the CSIR institutes like CSIR IGIB, like CSIR, many other NCL. So there are CSIR labs, right? You have to understand the funding systems. There are DBT, DST, CSIR, ICMR, etc. So you give GATE to get some DBT fellowship. You give ICMR to get ICMR fellowship, mostly that are restricted to medical students or biomedical research. CSIR is more wide, but few of these institute take people who are CSIR qualified. So CSIR qualified is the first step for it. I hope that answer your question. Does that answer your question? If not, like this is the opportunity for you to like ask me that okay, I want to know this, know that. Guys, please tell me if you did you is it clear for you guys, this particular confusion? You guys can ask me other thing. If not, then I'll start talking a little bit about things. Okay, so question is, who am I? I'm just a student like you. Why I am in Unacademy? Because obviously I need some money. But the other thing is like many of the cases what happens, students don't have idea such that this kind of confusion is created. At my time I didn't also have idea. So I think why not share my journey and experiences, all of these things with you guys such that you guys understand, right? So I was also a JAM aspirant few years back. 2016 I got a rank of 6. 2017 I got a rank of 3. I was also qualified in IISc. My JNU rank was 2, but that does not define me who I am. But what I do these days, I was a TIFR student. Right now I am in Weizmann Institute, Israel, doing quite a lot of PhD research work there. That's pretty much it. So in this video, I can sort of tell you about the preparation strategy, how you can prepare, and all those stuff. So if are you guys still with me? Give me some responses if you guys are with me. So first, let's cover the types of books that we need to read. So if you have a lot of time, you could have started with all sort of books. Okay, like these books, the classical ones: Molecular Biology of Gene, Leninger, Slodish, etc., which are very important books as according to me. And these books are the classics. You need to learn from that. But okay, right now the jam is 1 month away, and if you start doing all these things, if you still know how to read these books and how to really efficiently study, do active learning, all fine. But if you don't have that strategy, then it's a big problem. So I'll come to Sudipto's question in a moment, but let me just finish what I'm telling right now. So these books are always the best, but if you read the books right now in an inefficient manner or in an unplanned manner, it won't help you out. So how you can then improve your thing, right now you are out of time. So there are some shortcuts. These books you guys really don't know. I don't know you guys know about these books or not. Yeah, how to read a whole book. So if I get enough amount of good response today, and I get good watch views and everything, and feel valuable, then I can make a session where I would read a chapter with you guys. In a half an hour session, we can read a chapter together and try to understand. You guys would get to know that how I read a book, or how we can read a book, right? So these are few books which are present in the screen, which are so important. So these books are all Garland Science publications, the same publication where you have the Bruce Albert's book, Cell Biology. So these are like very cheap, like 300 rupees each book. And these books would give you a very precise view, but it would cover all the necessary details and all those things. You can buy these whole set from Amazon or anywhere online. I don't know whether you get it offline or not. Amazon or Flipkart, they sell these books. These are very cheap, right? Yeah, so how do we want to prepare for jam? We are coming to that. So first we are talking about the resources, and we are going to talk about that. Okay, so these are few backup but good resources. Though this would not like leave some interesting topics, so it has all the necessary information, very high yield and everything. Yeah, I can give a link at the end of this chat session, but you can just type in Amazon that BIOS Insta Notes and followed by the name, you can get it. Okay, if you also, yeah, so you can get it from Amazon. For practice, I use these books which are available in the market. Definitely they're not the best ones, but they are the ones which are present in the market, so not the bad ones as well. So these are pretty good books for preparing the MCQs. And the whole point is you read something and you try to understand that whether I am okay with this or not, or whether I'm like I really understood the concepts or not. You can only judge that by solving some questions, right? Or discussing with other people. Many people use these books, but I have never used these books, so I can't say that how good they are. But this is also an option many people use, and these books are pretty much popular in the market. Okay. Okay, and for chemistry, what I have used, these JE Men or AIPMT, they have these books which are like pretty precise, a 40-day series. So these 40 days are again costing like 200 rupees per book, but they are like really efficient and you don't have to plan. Most of the cases the things are planned in these books. So yeah, if you have Pathfinder books, it's fine, Nilanjana. Yeah, so you can also read it. I'm telling it that I didn't know, because I when I was like preparing for IIT jam, I had no idea about these books. I was like mostly reading textbooks and everything. So I don't know. I am not in a situation to comment about that. But what I have seen at the later part, they have all the necessary informations to do it. But yeah, at the same time, you need some augmentation in terms of the concepts as well. Sometime. So they're not bad, obviously. Otherwise, they don't have this much of cell record. Anyway, so do subscribe to the channel of Unacademy in this particular thing because you can get free lectures here. So let's talk about how to exact you can plan for IIT JAM and what is the game plan you can use. Okay, it includes all the topics that you need to learn. It includes all the things that you really need to keep in mind, all the highlights, important topics, etc. Okay, so first thing, you should focus on group studies because group studies are best way to do anything, because you when you sort of, yeah, so that's the thing. So that's my impression as well. Some of the part is good for the Pathfinder book, some part is not so good. So it's also depending upon that thing, right? So first thing you need to understand is like you can do like group studies. Now you can make your own group. You might have college group, you might have your school group, or any sort of group you have. There are other options. There are online groups, such as there is a plus class in Unacademy which I am taking. So we have a group of like 25 people at this moment. So everybody interacts there in a group, and classes are slower there, like not so fast that I used to teach in the YouTube. And you have a lot of opportunity to interact and say that, okay, I don't understand this thing, can you explain it to me once more, and can I ask you to solve this question, can I get some help in this particular topic. So these things are possible in an Academy Plus platform, which is pretty cheap, like in my opinion, because you have to pay like about 2000 rupees, and also 20% discount could be available. But at the same time, you get so much operate like so much like options. Like for example, it's not only me teaching there, there are other people's also teaching there, right? So you have a lot of resources when you're in a plus class, right? So you can register for many courses, but I also have free courses, few free courses, not too much, which would work like a trailer in an Academy platform as well. So that's pretty much it. Remember that I have a code like AP10, which would give you 10% discount if you want to do it. Enough of these thing. But the most important thing that you need to think about is these three things. First, you need to study, but don't study aimlessly. I'll come to a point how you can study in a seamless and a like targeted manner. Then you have to recollect. Recollection could be multiple ways. I'll come to the recollection part as well. Then you have to talk about the practice. So this is the classical triad by which you can enhance your memory or evoke long-term potentiation in your brain. So this is one of the scientific way, coming from a person who is doing PhD in neurobiology. So it's one of the most scientific way you can do it, and it works because I have tried it many times and I'm doing these things. Anyway, what is good about Unacademy's learning platform is like you can also give online tests which are very similar or built in a pattern like IIT JAM, and that is included in that amount of money. You don't have to pay any extra money. So that would really prepare you for a particular exam day, because you have to also give online tests, right? Not the offline ones. So this is another good feature about it. So the whole point of Unacademy, or what we I want to promote, is like we should learn together and really help each other. So there are like many people in these whole jam platform. You can always use my code as a discount, but let's talk about the important thing. So what happens is like we are really confused at this moment. We want to crack IIT jam, but we are pretty much frustrated then. And then we are saying, oh no, I'm like too frustrated, I cannot do it, it's impossible for me to do it. Then you have to pause. If your situation like this, you have to pause and ask yourself, what happen if I don't qualify IIT JAM? Or how important is it for me to qualify IIT JAM? Have you guys thought about these things? Like how important is it to qualify IIT JAM? Because in your head you need to have a future plan, that okay, I want to achieve or spend my 2 years in IIT because I want to do this, or let's say research, or let's say I want to go to industry. So IIT is a good bridge point for that, which it is. Also, IITs are not bad for research. There are quite a lot of good research going on in all the IITs that I know of. Yeah. So you have to think about all of these part. Secondly, you have to think about, okay, what is my backup plan? If you have a backup plan in your head, then you won't feel that much frustrated. So for me, I knew that, okay, if I didn't get JAM, I didn't expect a TIF or IISc or NCBS, but eventually I qualified all of these. Yeah. So just like Sudipto said that, okay, if it fails, his plan is JNU. So just like that, I had my plans as well. If it fails, my plan was JNU. Now it's also a different exam, different pattern. I hope you guys know my JNU rank. My JNU rank was 002, All India 02. So anyway, JNU CEB rank. Also, few of these life science school, molecular medicines, these things are there. If JNU is not there, there is BHU, there is Hyderabad University. So JNU CEB comes as a big plethora of exam, and you have a lot of choices, more than IIT JAM. So those courses are also good, not bad. So it's all like 90 and 20. This kind of weightage is there. So it doesn't matter if, okay, I didn't get a IIT, my world is stopped. It's not like that. But okay, you have a plan. Yeah, so that's good. Like, since you guys are interacting, that okay, you have a backup option, you have a backup plan. That's what you need to have back of your mind. So you have a primary goal. If A fails, you have plan B. If B fails, you have plan C. You need to have a series of plans. Okay, without plan, it's a big problem. Okay, the biggest problem right now is like, if you're preparing just right now, then the problem is where to start, what to read, because the time is so less, and at the end of the day you lose motivation to say like, तुमसे ना हो पाएगा, ये मेरे बस की बात नहीं है, ये तो मेरे से नहीं हो पाएगा, I'm too weak. All of these things would keep in your mind. So you have to somehow throw these things away. How to do that, how to stay motivated and all those things? So you have to understand that it's, though it is too much of things to read, too much things to revise and all of these things, but you have the capability of doing this, and you're in uninhibited. For example, if you don't get it, you can give always another try. You might not get at MSc level, you can get in there in PhD level or many other levels, or let's say MTech level. So there are multiple options. Okay, so for example, you need to like really think that what would happen if I don't qualify these things. So my father would kick me out of home, or stop my pocket money, or what is going to happen, really what is going to happen. Then once you understand that, okay, I have nothing to lose or nothing would be lost from me, it's just an added bonus if I get it, then you would be like free. Okay, now I can perform, I can really do stuff. So this is the best part. Okay, so really you have to get out of your own inhibition. Half of the time what happens, I've seen for many of my friends who are brilliant, but okay, I really want to focus on my university exam, one thing at a time, and I don't want to do that and all these things. So that's why it really doesn't happen. So we are coming to the topics. We just let me finish this part. We are coming to the topics very soon. Okay, okay. So right now what is going to happen is like, these things would come in your mind a lot of times, but you have to really get rid of all these things. Now there would be always people who are judging you, that saying, okay, तुमसे ना हो पाएगा, मेरा तो वो भतीजे ने ये कर दिया है, मेरा दोस्त का बेटा ने ये कर दिया है, तुमने क्या किया? So these kind of, you are in India, so you have to like deal with these kind of judgmental stuff. Inside your mind it should be clear that you are not taking anybody's money for eating, right? You're taking your father's money or your own money. So you don't, they are not feeding you, let them judge, you do your own job. Half of the time it happens that, अरे इस इंस्टीट्यूट में जाऊंगा, लोग क्या बोलेंगे? अगर मैं जेएनयू में गया, मेरा वो जो कॉलोनी का ये अंकल है, वो अंकल बोलेगा कि पॉलिटिक्स होता है, ये होता है, वो होता है, पॉलिटिक्स होता है जेएनयू में, तुम ना जाओ बेटा. Then you have to stop, pause and say, are you a student of JNU? Have you seen what is the situation of politics? Or let's say, what is the situation of IITs? Or what is the situation of BHU? You don't know, right? So then you should not comment on it. So this is the problem, like misinformation or miscommunication is a big deal in India right now. So you have to figure out and get the correct information from the correct people. Otherwise, you're lost in that rabbit hole. Now, let's try to understand. Okay, I hope I could motivate you that okay, it's your life at this end, at the end, so it's your decision. Okay. And sometimes there are like inhibitions of many of my friends. I had a friend who was from a very sort of a village background, cannot speak English that much. Okay, just to think about it, like, what do you think about my English? Is it good? I can speak fluently or all these things, right? Do you know what background I was from? I was not from an English medium school. I was just from a like a regional state board school, and English was not my first language. So if I can do it, you guys, why not? You guys can do it. You guys can definitely do it. It's not so difficult. I mean, half of the time, like, you watch Hindi movies, you watch HBO, Netflix, so much things, right? So these things are inside your brain. Once you start talking in these things, you can do it. So these are the least thing to bother about. That okay, I cannot handle English or reading in English, all those things. So this is not the matter. Okay. Now let's talk about what are the important topics and how we can plan that. So at the end of this video, you can really plan those things. Okay. So this is the overall workflow. First, you should start sitting and saying, I should analyze the question paper first. First thing first, IIT JAM was performed. IIT JAM was taken or organized this year by IIT Kanpur. Like in 2020, IIT Kanpur would be doing this thing, right? And IIT Kanpur has previously set a paper on 2014. So their mindset is also kind of fixed. So they have a fixed focus and there is a fixed trend. So analyze that question paper, analyze the question paper of 2014. In my opinion, since I have analyzed, I can tell you cell biology, molecular biology and physiology is the most important thing. After that, biochemistry and microbiology. Rest of the topics does not count that much. Let's say you have a 10% weightage for one topic, we might leave it. Okay, depending upon the time. I'm not saying you leave it, I'm saying depending upon the time you can prioritize. Give your 70% effort. That's why this loop says give your 70% effort on studying the frequently asked topics. Okay, the hot spots. Okay, and then touch remaining 30% of topic if you have time. So if you get confused with this remaining 30% of topic, what can happen is like, and you end up not revising these 70% of the topic. You might not get that time to revise it. So you have to really determine that weightage in your head, and accordingly you should prepare. Understood? Now let's talk about, you need a solid plan for the time distribution. So let's see whether I can help you out in that way or not. I'm not saying that you have to do the thing that I'm saying. I'm telling that I can show you one of the plan that I have followed or what I should have followed. You guys can take that as an example and make your own sort of plan, make your own customized plan. So for first thing, as a student, when I started, I only prepared for like 3 months, and that's what all over there in Google, wherever I write interview or anything, I have written the proper thing. I've only prepared for 3 months, and 2017 I did IIT JAM again because I thought I would be kicked out of TIFR. I cannot take the pace, which eventually didn't happen. I got offered a PhD position there, but I thought it was very difficult for me to survive there. But that's why I did IIT JAM again and qualified, and that time I didn't have any time to prepare, so I just prepared 15 days for the second time. So but really you have the trend in your mind. So you have these sections, you know, these are the hotspots, and among these hotspots you determine two things: reliability of a topic and occurrence of a topic. For example, biochemistry, they ask quite a lot of question, but each time they are asking question from different concepts, so there is no reliability in that trend, or there is no defined trend in that. Whereas if I talk about a small topic, NMR, they only ask like one or two question, but reliably same type of question every year, right? So this NMR topic is a reliable topic. For example, if we talk about cell signaling, it's a small coverage topic, it's a matter of 2 days to revise, but they are asking questions very reliably from specific concepts. Okay, so that's how we are going to really categorize our priority, or really like to sort out things that we need to prepare. So if I would be in your situation, what I would do is like quickly read NMR, cell signaling, immunology, which has a reliable pattern of occurrence, because I know most likely this year I would also encounter some question from these topics. Okay, then I would choose all of these subjects which I am like really confident about. I would do that first. Let's say I am a student of molecular biology, let's say. So I'll do molecular biology at first. That would be my strong point, stronghold, and anything comes up from molecular biology I can answer. Let's say you are a microbiology student, so microbiology is your stronghold. You would first revise that and finish all of these stuff. Then you go to biochemistry. Let's say biochemistry is your nightmare, so you go to the so especially the overall trend and the data says biochemistry is mostly the nightmare for many of the students. It was nightmare for me as well. Somehow these days I really learned biochemistry by myself and devised a way that it does not become a nightmare. So in my plus class I would specially teach how to deal with biochemistry, because biochemistry is a beautiful thing which is not a nightmare. If you read unnecessary things, then it would appear as a nightmare. It's a sea of information, but at the same time like it's a very beautiful garden of concepts as well. So then physiology, which you have studied from very long time. People who are doing courses on physiology, or like they have a physiology major, so they have all these things revised and everything. So you have to understand what things are there. For example, I notice that from ecology or from let's say from the general topics, zoology or all those things, people really don't ask questions. In IIT JAM Biotechnology, when there was biological science, they used to ask questions. Now in biotechnology, they really don't touch that. Even if they ask a little bit, they would ask a little bit question about, let's say, on evolution, or let's say a little bit about ecology, not too much. So and those questions are elementary, so I would consider, okay, I'm not strong about that, so I can leave it behind or read my basic books. Okay, so I don't know about these YouTube channel that you are talking about. I have no idea. So this is an Unacademy platform. I cannot promote my own YouTube channel there as well, though they are featuring me as well. So I don't know. I mean, people are a lot of using these days using Unacademy. I think the prices are good enough. If you go to a tuition, for example, in any places, they would charge you at least 1,000 to 1,500 rupees, and you would get like 4 classes in a month. So for 4 classes, you pay 1,500 rupees, roughly, right? Yeah. So here in an academy, you only pay 1,800 for a month, and you get educators such as me and many of other people there, right? For every day in the month, every day 1 hour, you get to see my lectures or you get to see my podcast, etc. So see, think about these things, right? So that doesn't mean that you should join an academy. You should think about all these things. I'm telling you all the possible options. I'm never telling you that or forcing you that you join this or that, and I don't believe in these things. Okay, because for me, I did nothing. I just did self-study. So you can also do it by self-study, but sometimes what happens, some people are different, many people. So I've seen your responses, Amrapalli, so I'm going to talk about that. Give me some time. So people are different, so some people need some hand holding, some motivation, something like that, or a more methodological support. Some people don't need that, they're self sufficient. So it really depends. You have to figure out that what type you are, and based on that, you can do these things. And these are sort of options that you can do. Okay, if you talk about planning cell biology, yeah, okay, so any, wait, give me a second, it's Aparna. Oh my god, my eyesight is so bad. I cannot see it in my iPad. Anyway, so Aparna is saying that any exam preparation suggestion for a second year BSc student. If you're a second year BSc student, then you have a lot of time. So then you have a lot of time, okay? And then second, Nilanjana is asking, okay, sir, how can I answer C-section and all these things and all those things. So all of these tricks, techniques, all of these shortcuts, everything fall apart. Everything fall apart. Doesn't matter. Not required, not necessary. If and only if you have devotion towards basic concepts. You know your basic is strong. What is a basic concept? This is a very important topic, that what is a basic concept, okay? So yeah, you can buy some study material from educational websites and all those things. So it really depends, that it's your money, right? At the end of the day, it's your money. Where you spend, it's upon you. Nobody can say that, okay, you spent on that or that. So anything which is you think it's good for you, you can do it. And notes is not the always important thing that you need to think about, because first of all, half of the time when you talk about a movie, the actions or the scenes that are in the movie is like flashing in front of your eyes. You close your eyes, you can remember that dance step. Okay, I'm coming to all of these questions. Everything is possible, man. Everything is possible in 30 days. Everything is possible. It's not a problem. So um so that's why, Aparna, I was saying that uh, for example, you can definitely look for all the materials from different websites. Hopefully they would be good, but there are also plagiarized materials. I don't know whether you know what is plagiarism or not. So no, let's read a chapter. It's like, if I get enough amount of like today, I would really show that how to read a chapter. Okay, so we are going to do that later on, because it's going to talk about a lot of strategies. But before, let's complete these things and let's try to answer your questions. So many of the study materials are like copied from one part of, let's say, a textbook and plugging it in. Many big books in the market are also like that. Now Indians don't have the idea, or they are not taught in a way that these are crimes. Okay, other form of crimes are there, but this is also a crime. For example, I can read the Leninger book, I can understand the concept, but I cannot copy a sentence from the Leninger book and write in my exam. So for example, if I would be an examiner in that situation, I would just not check the copy or invalid, make the copy invalid, because it is not your word you're saying, you're copying somebody, right? You can only copy somebody when you cite that. The way to write is like, according to popular authors, this is the thing, then you can write the quote, or you can write the thing in your own way. So this is called plagiarism. Okay, if you copy stuff, that's why my materials are designed by me, and like all the graphics are mine, so there is no copyright. Okay, and if I still use somebody's graphics, I would give them credit that it's not my graphics, I'm using somebody's graphic. Do check out their stuff, it is credit, and let the people know that I'm using your stuff. So this is the right way. I know it might be a bit boring for you guys, but nobody told you these things. Even nobody told me those things. I learned these things, but since I know these things, I want to tell you guys. So let's come into a cell biology part. Get back to the thing. So I told you about repetitions, I told you about the coverage. So in cell biology, if you think, cell biology is vast, right? You have so many organelles. The whole book for the cell biology, Bruce Alberts, is so huge. So how would you like really finish it? So this is your question. Okay. So this is the thing. So what you really need to do is figure out topics which are dead important. For example, here the top most priority is cell signaling. It's one chapter. It can be covered in 1 day or 2 days. If you take 2 days, aram se isko kiya, then you can really read this chapter, revise the question, and understand what are the concepts which are frequently asked. Then I know after that, cell division is the important chapter. Cell cycle regulation is the important chapter, where they ask the question. If they don't ask question from here, they ask question from this second part. So I would devote my more time on the second thing. I know sometimes they ask ER, Golgi, vesicular trafficking, these things, but the coverage is so vast that it might be difficult for me to cover all of these things. I would end up spending more time or more days doing nothing. So you don't want to do that. You want to really efficiently use your time. And this is what happens for us. Like, you start reading and you are motivated that, okay, I read this thing, I'll finish this thing. And at the end of the day, I've read two pages. Among that, one page I have forgot. So this is called passive learning. This is not active learning. Nothing has get inside, nothing is encoded. So let's say if I talk about cell biology, this would be my plan, because I know that, okay, Golgi, vesicular transport, these things I already know. I would quick revise them, but I would focus more on these topics. So this color code, remember, so anything in yellow means dead important, and they are like prioritized according to their weightage. According to me, this is according to me, okay, not according to anybody else. And these data or these priority things, the basis by which I'm saying this is prior or this is important is not because that I have it is in my mind or I have to do a YouTube video, so I'm doing it. This is based on the data and the based of the frequency of the questions that are asked in the exam. So this is based on that. Okay, let's talk about the biochemistry, the nightmare. Okay, so first of all, there are few things that are reliably asked. Vitamin and their deficiency, top question for IIT JAM. Like, one question is asked like vitamins and their names, those scientific names that you always forget. I used to also forget those things. Okay, like there is nothing wrong about it, but you have to identify, okay, this is the thing that is reliably asked every time. Then they would always ask you some question from the structure of nucleic acid or protein, especially if they talk about protein. I think by this time you should be totally understanding that, okay, they talk more about hemoglobin, myoglobin, sometimes keratin, sometimes lamine, etc. Beyond that, they are not going to talk about some protein which is you never heard, let's say presenilin, let's say amyloid precursor protein. These kind of proteins they are not going to talk about. They are going to talk about some proteins which you really know, which is in your textbook. So you have to identify, okay, if I am going to face a question that might be from hemoglobin, from myoglobin, these kind of stuff. Okay, now if you have a if you don't have a good knowledge for these Golgi, mitochondria, these kind of topics, let's say, and you want to really do these things, so you have to devise your own pattern. I mean own like strategy. Let's say, okay, I'll spend 3 or 4 days on this thing, but at the end of the day you should think about your reward. If you get it, that means, okay, you are going to secure some question. You have to like sort of be confident enough that you can finish it. So that's the part. So in Unacademy, what you have, like, you have one. So in my classes are in, I cannot tell you about other classes, but my classes are like this. So each day I have a small class where I discuss 5 concepts and a noble lecture, a noble story, which is a story time that just to detox the class and dilute it. And at the end of the day, there is some question answer sessions that we are also doing, like solving some questions. I give you questions, you can do live polls and all those things, such that you, whatever you learn in this 1.5 hour, you can like revise. You can learn these lectures at any time. So there are some strong points I'm talking about, but you can do it yourself. Let's say you studied these chapters, you have studied these chapters by your own, and at the end of the day you would open a book which would have a chapter wise MCQ, and you know which book has this kind of thing, that capsule book from that Pathfinder. So that is a good thing to practice, and you try to retrieve the information. Okay, like whether you can do it or not. I'll show you some other ways you can do it. Okay, so next you talk about molecular biology. The most important topic they talk about is transcription, translation, and replication. Not the whole process, man. They talk about mostly the enzymes that are used in these processes. Most frequently asked enzymes are, let's say you have studied mostly in your colleges about prokaryotic replication, prokaryotic transcription, and prokaryotic translation. They talk about now, okay, the enzymes that are used in eukaryotic replications are this thing, or the antibiotics that inhibit prokaryotic replication but not eukaryotic replication is like this thing. So those kind of questions are answered. So if you start and reading central dogma for 2 days, you would be lost in details. I mean, that's important to know, that's important to understand the process, how it was discovered, but it is not important from an exam point of view. So you have to understand which time what strategy to take. So both are important, I will say. Okay, so in that situation what you can do is like, if this is my broad heading, I would first scan all of these exams that I'm going to give, and then I would try to list out broad headings or the hot topics under these things, and I would make my own notes or trackback system or flashcard. I'll talk about these things, notes, flashcard, how you can make and all those things. I'll show you some examples, models or anything. I'm ready to give away these things for free. I don't know how we can give these. In Unacademy platform, my notes are like distributed freely, even in the open classes, okay? So notes, just to ensure that notes really doesn't matter. It's like useless thing. It's something you make for your own good, like, so notes is customized. So I don't think my own notes would really be helpful for you or not, but I'm okay to give away whatever I have for free. Nothing is charged. Okay, let's say you talk about planning microbiology. Again, identify most important things. So for you guys, I have identified the most important topics according to the priority. Okay, see, right now if you join Unacademy Plus, these are the things we are discussing, what exactly you are asking, the techniques in molecular biology, what is asked. Okay, so we are exactly at that phase right now, right away. So if you are joining, you can always get that. But I would give one class, YouTube open class, about these things. Maybe we cover many of these things and talk about the exam patterns. So wait for it. So keep an eye on this channel and watch those videos. Okay, so in opinion, this should not be the way of reading your book. So you would first have all the lines, like, marked everything in your book, and this is just a NCRT book anyway. And then what happens is, like, these informations are dissociated. When you open the book again, the problem is some information is here, some big picture is there, some is there. Like, you start opening the book and then you do like some aage piche, and what happens is, like, you get lost or you waste a lot of time to initiate. So you need a better track back system that you have done. If you have done, the next time you do it, neurobiologically it's going to take less time because you have already explored that avenue, you have created the avenue. So it's all of these things. So I cannot tell you how you are going to do it, but I can tell you how I have done. For example, there is a particular topic which is very important for IIT JAM out of many topics. So it's called gel filtration chromatography. Every year they somehow ask some topics on chromatography or anything. So how I did it, so let's say I'm going to read gel filtration chromatography right now and create this thing what I have created. So what I'm going to do is, I would first look at the contents of the books such as Leringer or let's say Lodish or etc. like that. And then what I'm going to do is identify the chapter which has these topic. Fine, I'll put it aside. Then I would take some time. Okay, I'll take some time, and then what we are going to do is, like, identify these are the questions. I'll keep that thing aside, and that in that question I see, okay, this particular information is asked frequently. What is the angle that they are asking the question? So most of the cases they ask about topics, about the basic principle, the basic concept behind the principle. So for example, so that's why I have, so this is basically a separation principle, right? Gel filtration chromatography or any chromatography type. So if I quickly breeze through this whole diagram right now, I can understand what is happening. Second, I have a few lines which is not too much to read and it won't waste my time to read all those things. So I know that, okay, the separation basis is based on size and shape. The basic thing involves that protein which are having larger size would not enter these porous beads, and the protein which has smaller size would enter these porous beads. So that's why they are retarded, they would take more time to elute, and different time point we are going to separate different proteins. Okay, so they are just like sieves, nothing more than that. So another important thing that we can do is using this chromatographic technique to determine the molecular mass of proteins. So that's a good part, that's a positive point. And so this is the concept part that we need to know. So in a span of 30 seconds I can revise this and look at the image quickly. Then we have to understand few of the informations that are really asked and that is not really useful, because when you start doing research these things would be in your hand, like, but still they ask this biogel P, which is a polyacrylamide based material of the column, and that has a particular fractionation size. These questions were asked in the exam, and several times, more than one time. So that's why what I did, okay, these are the most relevant informations, so I'll just keep it aside and put a box like that. Okay, few of the time they also have asked some numerical questions from this concept, so I have like noted down all the formulas that I need to revise when I'm revising this chapter. Okay, so these things are actually important before you want to do. So at least this is called an active note taking. So this whole thing, when you are going to revise, maybe making this thing would take 1 hour, but revising this thing would take only 30 seconds. Because think about it, at the end of January, when you are going to February and you have 7 days left, you don't have a time to revise everything. You can't do it. But if you have a thing to track back like this, you can do it like this. Okay. So then coming to chemistry and physics, which are people asking about these things. So again, the trick is same. You identify the topics which are mostly asked or frequently asked. So you have to have the statistics of like frequently asked questions or percentage of occurrence, these kind of thing, and then figure out that, okay, in my class 12, which chapter I used to like or I was very strong at. So you have to ask yourself. For example, I was very strong in mechanics. Class 10 I have learned mechanics. 11 12 mechanics was my favorite. Gravitation, electromagnetism was my favorite. So, and I've seen, okay, luckily in physics I see these are the highestly like higher occurring, like frequently asked questions. That's good. My nightmare was organic chemistry. Shit, it is also a highly occurring question. So what to do right now? So I looked for, again, reliability. For example, they every year they are going to ask a question on coordination compound. So if I waste my 1 hour, 1 month of time revising organic chemistry, the chances are I might not answer. But I know myself, if I give 1 week of time and learn this one particular chapter, coordination compound, coordination chemistry, I can reliably answer that particular question. And the type of question or the level of question that they ask is very easy for coordination compound, even though I don't like it, but it's easy to answer, right? That would save you marks, give you definitive marks and definitive way. For example, polymers, biopolymers. So those Dagron, Teflon, these things. If you ask me right now what is this particular polymer, what is the monomer, I cannot answer. And I don't need to answer, because I think these informations are already provided in the internet, so I don't even care about bothering about knowing these things at this moment. But these are asked for your exam, so that's the thing you need to learn last moment, such that you can just vomit it there. I mean, anyway, Indian system is bad, so how you can do with this corrupted system? You have to devise some technique, not harming that, or get most out of it. Then, my best part was like electrochemistry or physical chemistry, but that are not asked very much. But I knew that they ask chemical kinetics or enzyme kinetics a lot, and mostly in the numerical section, which was a good part, because there you don't have a negative marking. So that's how I devised my strategy. Same for mathematics. I cannot revise all of these right now if I start, and I know I am very weak in coordinate geometry, or let's say I'm very weak in algebra, let's say. But I know that every year they ask some question from probability or permutation combination with a biological flavor attached to it. Okay, so they just take a biological context and make some questions like this. So this is like that. Then you have to understand, okay, which part I'm like very strong at. For example, I was strong in differential calculus and many other integration, differentiation, this part. So I used to do all those stuff. Okay, so at the end of the day I would say it works, right? It really works, because I've done it not once, twice. And this is just a system, you can beat it anytime. So with that, I would say this was the overall strategy that I can tell you, the way you can finish. Okay, so right now what I'm going to do is ask you guys that what are your questions. If not, I can show you some specific notes that I made sometimes, that you can also do something similar. Okay, You guys are still with me? Give some sort of response. Otherwise it's different. I'm just only talking to the camera. Give some response in between. Anyway, so what I'm just telling you guys, that you guys have to really, yes, India is a huge country. You need to do competition. Everybody did competition wherever they reach. Even I have to do a lot of competition before I reach TIFR. Even in TIFR, there is a lot of struggle. After that, when I moved to Wiseman, there is a lot of struggle, a lot of competitions. Fine. But at the end of the day, you have to determine that out of that competition, what you want to gain. You want to be a person that want to just sort of push another person beyond their limit and want to go to the edge, or want to achieve the peak, or you are another person that you want to take other people along with you and help them to progress. Everybody is not going to reach the peak, but they can really climb to a halfway, and you can help them. Everybody is different, everybody's career is different, so the choice is yours. You're a free individual. But I can only talk about some mindsets. I have seen people who just want to not share anything, share information. These are mamuli things. Like, these are very simple things. Anybody can do it. Anybody can read a book and do all these things. So they think, okay, I have this thing. This is like valuable stuff. I won't give it to anybody. If I give it to anybody, they would beat me in these exams and all of these things. I realize thing doesn't happen like that. We need to have a mutual respect to each other, to our friends, to our colleagues who are like preparing for these exams. All of us are in the same boat. Maybe our destiny is different. We would reach a destiny, some destination. We don't know what destination it is. For example, we used to study together. Yeah, from presidency that year, it was like all the top 5 ranks was presidency's rank. So we were like all top 10 in IIT JAM. But few people who used to prepare with us, they didn't get through. They didn't get at that point of time. But now they're sitting in Cambridge or Cold Spring Harbor. So it means that one phase of your life, you are not at that particular peak, right? But there are multiple mountain range to climb. So don't give up. Don't give up. Your whole strategy is not to give up and do it. So let me show you some way of backtrack learning or some safeguard mechanism that I have used to revise for the last day. For example, if I said that, okay, some mathematical based concept questions could be asked in numerical analysis type questions from some mathematical concepts in biology. So these things, how I collect this note in Unacademy, these notes are floating around all over here and there. You can join there and get these things. Yeah, I mean, these are valueless, idiotic notes, I would say, and I won't really promote. I mean, these are very good notes for exam point of view, doesn't help. If you go back to Veda and all those things, when there was a fight, Krishna said to Arjun that you can take me or take my whole army. So at the end of the day, you have to also decide what you need to take from this lecture. Take the idea of preparing or take what is ready-made, already prepared. And at the end of the day, I cannot guarantee that you have a indigestion with these notes or benefit with these notes. It's a resource. You have to use it in your own way. So that's my point, okay? So for example, I knew that, okay, bacterial growth curve, they ask mathematical question. I derived these things in my head, and I remembered these formulas and all of this stuff. Then I know, okay, from cell signaling, from receptor ligand interaction, they used to ask questions. So I sort of derived these things, and when I used to go to sleep, I a little bit looked at all of these things, okay. Then we knew that, okay, thermodynamics of ion channel, they ask questions. Spectroscopy, they ask questions. Enzyme kinetics, they ask either informative questions or mathematical type questions. So all of these things I have really made a list or a backup such that I can backtrack anytime. Some questions that, okay, in glucose, in lactose, what type of bond is present? So I have noted down those things just to remind myself at the last day, and I don't get lost in the last day. So this is just an example, okay? So you just really need not don't need to look at it anymore. Fine. So that's pretty much the stuff we are going to talk about, right? And yeah, so with that, I would like to say all the best for all of you guys from me and on the behalf of Unacademy team, who are doing good job, I would say, because they're in very less amount of money, they are bringing in so many educators, and at least they have some motivation. I don't know. So yeah, that's my point. And at the end of the day, who are joining new or anything, I'm always there in the plus platform. But my whole goal is, as a teacher or as a person, my success would be when you don't need me for a year. My success would be I train you for 1 month and you don't need me. You can tell me in my face, okay, I don't need you. I know how you work, how your brain work, and now I can do it by myself. That would be my success. Okay, not giving you some sort of backup or what to do or what not to do, doing something obvious for you guys. It's, in my opinion, it's making you more dependent on me rather than making independent. So again, like for example, Nilanjana is asking that what particular formula you need to ask or what particular things you need to ask. So these things, why don't you figure it out based on the statistics? So statistics your own is your own thing. So you look at the exams, what are the statistics of occurrence of these things, and you look at it. You can do it. It's not so difficult, right? Anybody has any other question? Yeah, from previous year question. So I told you my way. So I told you my way is like, yeah, so ask me. It's like K Prati, ask me that what is your question. So now I'm giving like 10 minutes of time for question answer. See, everything is possible within 15 days or 30 days. It depends upon what is the situation you have right now. So I got 1 week of time for preparing the IIT JAM for second time. But yeah, I was a TIFR student at the same time, right? So it depends how strong you are, how you perceive biology. The way we are taught in India is wrong. And most of the cases, I don't blame our teachers. I don't blame the teachers that are teaching you wrong stuff, because they were also taught wrong, right? But the whole sole goal is to, you have to identify what is wrong, what is right. And then you need to take your own measurements that, okay, if it is wrong, I can make it right. I can at least take a step to make it right. I can tell this to students. I can tell this to other people. So there are like deep rooted but unfounded belief inside us. Okay, we read notes and we vomit it into our exam copy. We pass some exams and that's how we do it. Doesn't happen like that. And that's how our Indian education system is crashing. We are more towards information based learning rather than thought provoking learning. And most of the cases, like, why the hell I should answer a question in exam which says me define this, define that? You can go and ask Google about these things and Google would give you the answer. What's new in that? So this is the whole problem. See, motivation comes from inside. K Prati, I'm talking to you. So motivation comes from inside. These, I'm a dropper, I can't do it, I'm weak, these things are all excuses, right? These things are excuses. For example, just to reach you guys, you don't know my schedule. I have to wake up 4 o'clock every morning. I have to read research papers. I have to go to my lab. I have to work a whole day in the lab. After that, I can, 25th, 24th, I can chill out. I can chill out. I can buy a wine and chill out. But what I'm doing, I'm talking to instead you guys, because I have a vision, I have a motivation to do these things, and I'm sticking to it. So you have to find your own motivation in your work or anything that interests you. That's how you can do it. That's how you can do it. And if you don't change it, who would change it? If you don't change it for you, nobody's going to change it for you. So you are the one who can bring the change. I mean, I said we are the one, right? That should be your own motivation. People would do wrong. There are people who still say, I won't give you this information, I won't share with you this information. They would not even say that, okay, these informations, if you spend some time, you can get it from Google, get it from Wikipedia, get it from other 100 sources which are providing, right? But the thing is, like, sometimes they give you a positive motivation. Your behavior to your fellow students, your fellow classmates would also motivate them or demotivate them. अच्छा नहीं लगता ना कोई अगर तुमसे ऐसे छोटे छोटे मामले में they cause problems, right? So this is how you can change your own way. I mean, again, some both sides. You know where I am present, where you can get hold of me, where you can get hold of my materials. It's present in multiple different platforms right now in internet. If you need notes, I have plenty of these bullshits. I can distribute for free to anybody who need it or who want it or who can't afford it. But at the same time, I don't believe it. I believe in sharing ideas or providing you ideas, not overload you guys with notes. Useless. Note is something personal, like a personal diary that, okay, you write whatever you understand about that, right? So, exactly like that. So, for example, how numerical answer type questions are done, or these kind of answers are done, definitely it's important for your understanding, but I think I would have other classes defining on that. If I get at least more than 50 likes in this video, I would do a question that, like, and I would think that, okay, this video is good enough, motivational enough, that I would explain you how to really read a chapter or how to really read biochemistry or tackle a difficult topic in biochemistry which you find pretty much confusing, or all of these things, right? So that's pretty much it. We're running out of time. So with that, I would say I'll stop right now, and do share these videos with your friends. They might not, one possibility is like they're very poor. India is a poor country, right? So they don't have access, but most of the time they have access to internet. They can go and at least get some benefit of these online materials that is there in the internet, some motivation, some benefit, something that would help them. Everybody cannot afford. Maybe 1800 rupees is like just like a thing for me, or maybe for you, but for our friend, that might be a 1 month's food money, right? We don't know. We can show our gratitude to them by sharing these things and sharing these informations to them. With that note, I would like to say goodbye to you guys. Happy Christmas Eve. Enjoy. Also think about, this is your golden time of your life, right? So bye guys. Good night.